when it came to be talking a lot for over 1,000 hours over the course of 10 years, it probably has negatively impacted my mental health pretty much, but I'm trying to maintain what I can do to project it into being a healthy state. But I gotta say, when it comes down to the universe, I think that it's hard to really understand what will go on, what challenges await the aliens that might exist in other galaxies and other clusters of galaxies. And I think it's really tough for me, because being in a situation where I have to make this content like the way I'm making it, it's not a good thing. I mean, I was planning on making a lot of interesting stuff that would be scripted and edited, and I'd just make high quality content. But the problem is, I can't really do that because I don't have the time. And I've been having some mental health problems, and I would really hope that, it's just been tough on me, because most of the things that I have talked about over the 10 years I've had have been unrecorded. 99% of 1,000 plus hours of me talking is unrecorded. But I do know, for what I'm getting at here, is that the solution is to start making content. And I don't care if it's low quality or high quality or whatever, as long as this content could be at least something, because this channel can't just sit there and be useless. I had tried to plan something for this content of this channel, but I don't really know how I could say just how deep the conversations I've had that have been made by me, because I've talked for thousands of hours, and I don't think people understand what I have done to my brain. I mean, thousands of hours is thousands of hours. I don't even think that most people, billions, have talked as much as I have over 10 years. And I think I've talked more like a radio show host before there was any recording that I've made. And if anybody had known the truth of the matter of how long I have been talking, they'd be thinking like, well, how can someone talk for that long? Well, talking is kind of something that I've had been doing, but I didn't understand that it was disrupting my mental health a bit. Eventually, years in doing this, I have to stop, it just take my mind and think that something can go on really good here. But, I mean, I think that it's important to know that it's just tough. I mean, I would say personally about me, I, lived on less than $100,000 in 10 years. And that may seem very large amount of money, but I have had barely much money lived on. And because that's 10 years, that means that most 90% of what I have been living on for 10 years has been poverty. It's been tough being me, but I think that when it came down to making my YouTube name, taking my domain name, it's a plan to make content. And I'm happy to be discussing this right now, because I think that one of the things about me is that I always had a passion for the universe. That's just the fate of all that is, when it comes to living organisms, how they die, how they live, how they continue, something sort of like a Spore, Spore, that game. I mean, that's pretty much how I see a little bit. I can relate a bit to that. But the thing is, this is big out of the proportion. I mean, the ultimate fate of the universe really can be determined by a Type 0 civilization? I don't think so. I mean, does it look like that a Type 0 civilization would actually come up with theories of the ultimate fate of the universe? Because I don't think that is actually going to be accurate, because it's really not going to be accurate. I mean, I think that other advanced life forms probably have better theories than we do on this planet, on humanity civilization's end. But I think that it's been quite a ride. I mean, I think that when it came down to the universe, I think that it's just an amazing thing. It's an amazing thing to know how massive, how gigantic, how huge this universe really is, because it's very, very large, billions of light years, and the expansion rate of the universe, and just, I mean, for me, one thing I had on this universe, what I believe a bit, is the Big Bounce theory. I really could relate to the Big Bounce theory. I kind of like that, because it kind of gives a positive view on this universe and its future. But talking like this has been quite interesting, because I don't really record myself much, but I think it was time to start mentioning. The thing is that I've been really having just a quite, oh man, I think I gotta get some water. I'll be back. I'm gonna leave this a bit. So yeah, okay, I'm back. I mean, I think that it's been quite a blast. I mean, when it came down to this, podcast here at the beginning, this would be episode 1, or just maybe a brief overview of what would be episode 1. But I think that it's been quite... I mean, think about the periodic table of elements here. If we could get to this point where these limits occur in the periodic table of elements, where humanity cannot create something to save itself from this planet being uninhabitable. I mean, imagine that. That would be quite interesting, wouldn't it? Because the fact that it would be uninhabitable, what humanity would have to do is find a way to live outside this planet. And how can it do that? How can it do that? Because it's kind of tough, because for the civilization to be getting anywhere with this, I mean, I think that it's just been quite challenging, a quandary of the sort that humanity is just not going to get what it could be. I mean, I think that humanity should be responsibly doing is taking care of this planet and making sure that it does not go uninhabitable. I know about climate change, and the debate can go on and on about that, but what I'm going to say is, if all the polar ice caps are just the ice just completely melts off by like a large amount, this planet could become uninhabitable in over thousands of years, and it will be uninhabitable. We would all hope that there would be a God. I mean, yeah, someone might be not believing in a God, or maybe they want to believe in a God. But the thing is, it would be good if we had help from God, because we would have a deity. Because if we didn't have God, this planet is going to be doomed if climate change goes out of control, and eventually much of this planet becomes uninhabitable, then humanity is going to be extinct. So I don't really understand why people had gotten much of this situation where it could do whatever it wants, no consequences. But look at the pollution that has been polluting the planet. It's been a very large amount of pollution, and it's really difficult to get clean up after the previous waste of the last century, of the last 50 years, of the last 10 years, and on the present point in time. And the thing is, I think that it comes down to just what it could be. Because when the pollution of this planet is gone out of control, and things are permanently destroyed, ecosystems and species go extinct, one of the things you talk about, like I talk about, bees, very, very important insect. If bees had died off, oh my goodness. And there's other things that also contribute to the cycles of life on this planet, and that they're very important to keep these living organisms operating in their natural environments. For what humanity has done has just been destroying this planet. Every year, thousands of acres of land is immediately being destroyed for industrial, urban use and stuff like that. I mean, I think that it's ridiculous because it's unacceptable. If humanity does not bear the burden of responsibility for its destruction of its own habitat, it'd be that stupid to have continued it, because it's unacceptable for humanity to permanently damage this planet. Because if the planet is destroyed of its environments, what the hell's going to happen to humanity? It'll go extinct. They'll go extinct, and they don't care about it. They don't care. People on this planet do not care about the future of humanity. Because all I see from what I've been looking at, I have to say, it's hard to believe, but I've read thousands of articles on Wikipedia. That's a lot of information. I've watched thousands of hours of videos on the internet on so many things. I mean, I watch documentaries, I watch all sorts of things. And what I get out here, I think I get out my opinion, is I see that humanity is just decaying this planet. And it's not that things are just like plastic is being tossed in the trash and it's not being recycled or reused. That's not what I'm getting at. There's all sorts of pollution that's decaying the planet. And if it had continued, or it permanently damages the planet, I can't imagine just how bad it can get. Because, again, imagine the uninhabitability of this planet happening by humanity is going to be pretty stupid. Because the ancient civilizations may have had cults, may have had dictators, may have had human rights abuses, may have had just ridiculous controversial things in their history. But the ancient civilizations were not destroying this planet as humanity is doing present point time. And I think people are not aware of just how much pollution's already in the oceans, and the acidic levels of the oceans. And I don't think people understand that we're causing this planet to become uninhabitable. And if there is no God to rescue humanity out of this planet, what will happen? What will happen? Because that's something that should be known, shouldn't it? Shouldn't it be known that there is a God? That's a separate thing I could talk about later on. But I'd say that we would only need to hope that there is a God. Because if there isn't, we're destroying our own planet.